You wouldn't think it from the traffic racing past me, but just through these gates lies one of the quietest, most atmospheric corners on the edge of Cambridge. Wandlebury sits right off this busy road, almost hiding in plain sight. Thousands of people drive past every single day without realising they're skimming the edge of an ancient landscape that's been lived in, fought over, and loved for more than 2,000 years. We'll leave the noise behind in a moment, but I wanted to start out here because this contrast is part of the magic. One step from the rush of modern life, and suddenly you're walking into deep woodland, old earthworks, and the kind of peace that makes you forget there's a main road just a few metres away. Now that we're inside, the first place I want to show you is Cherry Pond. It sits just off the woodland path, and it's one of those quiet spots that reminds you how carefully this whole landscape is looked after. Depending on the time of year, you'll find birds cutting across the water, reflections from the trees, and that stillness that settles in as soon as the road disappears behind you. It's a lovely welcome into the park. From here, the paths tempt you deeper in. You've got winding trails heading off between the trees, and if you're anything like me, there's always that childhood urge to go straight into the den building areas. The whole place feels designed for wandering. Little clearings, lines of old woodland, that sense of space that makes you slow down without even noticing. But if you manage to resist getting lost in the woods, you'll eventually reach the main buildings here at Wandlebury. This courtyard has a really interesting history. The granary, the timber frame building you can see here, was dismantled back in 1971 and moved here from Tadlow. It was restored piece by piece, using as much of the original structure as possible. You'll see the old frame, the boarding, and even the pegged joints all preserved. Inside, the historic layout was kept, and the lower part was faithfully rebuilt so it could keep standing for generations. Around it, you've got the old stables, the historic park buildings, and the heart of the estate where the day-to-day care of Wandlebury is coordinated. It looks like you can also have parties and gatherings here. How exciting! And that brings us perfectly to someone who plays a big part in keeping this place welcoming and alive. Let's meet someone now who makes sure the paths stay clear, the wildlife areas are protected, and the history of this landscape is looked after so all of us can enjoy it the way it deserves to be enjoyed. Let's hear from them about the work that goes into maintaining Wandlebury and why places like this matter.
Hello, welcome to Wandlebury. I'm Hannah, part of the estates team, and I think you should come and share Wandlebury with us. There's such a lovely time of year at the moment, but at all seasons we've got the nature and the wildlife and the history of the site, lovely walks, and people have been coming along and visiting for millennia. So come and investigate what there is. Pollinator garden over by the wall, ponds and the woods, the cows. There's everything to see.
A huge thank you to Hannah for welcoming us in so kindly. It's easy to walk these paths and admire the views without ever realising the amount of care it takes to keep Wandlebury looking the way it does. So hearing from someone directly involved really brings that to life. Just where Hannah greeted us, you'll find the information area. It's a useful little hub. Notice boards with upcoming events, guided walks, volunteer days, and all the things happening across the estate. And just inside the door, there are maps, leaflets, and plenty of background information to help you make the most out of your visit. And from here, the pace of the place shifts again. Around the grounds, you'll often find moments like this. Someone simply sitting back with a cup of tea, soaking up the calm. It sums Wandlebury up beautifully. A tranquil pocket of nature where people can pause, breathe, and enjoy a bit of quiet in a world that doesn't always give us much of it. As we move down towards the rear of the main grounds, just before the many walks that stretch out in every direction, Wandlebury shows another side of itself. This part of the estate has a softer, more personal atmosphere. a mixture of memories, enchantment, and the kind of quiet detail you only really notice when you slow down. You'll find little pockets of colour from the flowers planted here, and depending on the season, the occasional flutter of butterflies drifting through. It has that feeling of being gently tended, but still natural enough for wildlife to make their own stories in and around it. There are memorials tucked along the paths too, small markers to people for whom this place held a special meaning. It's touching really, because it shows how deeply connected some visitors become to this landscape. Wandlebury isn't just a park to a lot of people, it's a place where memories settle and stay. And just off to one side there's a pet cemetery where one of its residents has been here a very long time. It speaks quietly about the way this space has been used and cared for over the years. Even here, amongst the trees and the flowers, you get a sense of how much Wandlebury is woven into the lives and losses of the community around it. And that brings us to the end of our visit to Wandlebury. It's one of those places that offers a little more every time you come. History, calm, wildlife, and those small personal corners that make it feel genuinely special. Thank you for joining me today. I hope this wander has inspired you to come and explore it for yourself, or even to look a little closer at the places you pass by every day. If you've enjoyed this episode, do like, share and subscribe so you don't miss the next Unseen Cambridge adventure. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. Tell me where you'd like me to go next, or share a hidden spot you think deserves to be seen. If you've got a location you'd really like featured on Unseen Cambridge, send it over by email. Who knows, your little gem of a place might just be the focus of our next film. For now, thanks so much for watching and for supporting this journey into the lesser-known corners of our landscape. Until next time, stay curious, and I'll see you on the next exploration.